Hey, today I want to talk about capitalism, gaming, and how I think capitalism is actually ruining gaming. And when I think ruining gaming, I don't really mean the indie games or middle tier games, AA games for example. I mean more of a AAA or there's some quadruple games out there and AAA companies in general. And what I really mean by that is, you know, if you look at the AAA companies in the last 10 to 15 years, probably it's gonna be, there's a lot of gonna be like Ubisofts and Blizzard and Activision and Electronic Arts, all those companies. If you look at it, you actually realize what I mean by capitalism ruining gaming, because they are really good examples of that. And it could be different in the different countries, if we're not talking about US companies, US game dev companies, if we talk about like Chinese or Japanese, they kind of have it a little bit different there. They have also their own problems, but it's kind of more towards the US. No, I'm gonna be talking more about the US companies. So, what we have is for example, Ubisoft, which is like I like Assassin's Creed. I really like the genre. I like the franchise, or at least I used to before they removed Assassins from there, basically. And now I don't really care about it anymore. And whatever is gonna come out now about Shadows is like a Black Samurai or whatever. It's so fucking stupid. Uh, and so yeah, and the reason why, for example, Ubisoft, right? Why they actually went this way? It's basically a lot of people try to blame, the developers. The developers became this, developers became that. Woke. There is a lot of, there were woke quotas, basically, right? Diverse quotas, and there is a lot of woke people who are working, and like they, if you think about it, they like decreasing the quality of product, which is kind of true. If you have any kind of quotas, you're probably gonna bring a little bit more unskilled people. That's true. It's also it's like a factor of it. But there's a few questions to it. First, why are they making the games that they're making? Why do they push? At least they used to before. And you know what? No, if you think about it, for example, Veilguard, which came out just recently and like a woke piece, basically, it's still a problem. Even though I think it's like getting better, but still, why is the woke new color nowadays? Why was it so pushed in the last like 10 years? And there is some conspiracy theories about it. For example, there's a theories who talk that it's because of the BlackRock that has its own like AI or some kind of advanced system which rates companies by their inclusivity and all this kind of stuff as well, which is why they push towards woke. Or there could be another explanation: they just cater to whatever's popular, but they don't really care about it. We all know that, right? It's like if there's some company that likes to not promote, to likes to congratulate us on the Pride Month. They don't really care about Pride Month. They just want to themselves look good. They don't really care about it. But this is like one of the reasons, right? Why they push all this shit. And when you do it excessively, when you hire people, let's say, that are not interested in making the best product, that I'm interested in just promoting the worldview, they're probably not going to make as good of a product because they're going to be really biased and they're going to try to push it towards one way, when maybe sometimes there is like, we need to be more flexible in that, and you need to tell the story that is authentic, not just what you want to see in the world, even this like fake world, right? This is one thing, which is like, but it's not really explains what does the capitalism have to do with it, right? And the reason why I think it's really problematic with big companies, especially in the US at least, is that when you have a company, when it's a private company, let's say Steam, for example, right? If I remember that correctly, it's a private company owned by Gabe Newell and someone else, right? And Gabe Newell is like there is a phrase when some streamers watch videos about Steam. It's like common Steam W, and the reason for it is because Steam rarely fucks up, at least in the platform department. Yeah, they have some problems with their own games and they like don't really make them anymore. They turn CS and Dota into gacha machines, but they do generally have smart decisions with their platform, and they also are privately traded company. And why I actually mention that is because when you look at the companies like Ubisoft or Blizzard or whatever, right, they are publicly traded companies. And why I think it's really problematic is that there are investors that actually run things. It could be not actually people who know about the world of game dev, let's say, because just imagine this, right? You have a small company which is like haven't proven itself, doesn't really, just made a few good games, but they weren't really big, right? But it's a pretty good company, and probably the people who are gonna invest that are actually seen the games, that actually played the games, they're gonna be more passionate about game dev, right? And they're gonna make the course with the knowledge of game dev. But if that company goes big, it brings a lot of money, and with money comes a lot of people who don't really care about games, who don't really care about anything except money, and they're gonna try to push for short-term gains, for short-term profits, because I think most of the people are short-sighted. There's like a minority of people who are actually long-sighted, and investors are going to be short-sighted as well, like most of them probably, and they would like to have the money now, because like we spend a lot of money on your stock, we spend a lot of money investing, we want to returns, and this is where companies start to add monetization. This is where they start to make unfinished products, because they need to feel it towards the certain quarter. Okay, year's ending, we need to show investors how good we're doing, how increasing, how profits actually went good, we're actually doing pretty good, right? We need to show them that we have a good path, we're on the right track. So we need to skip, we need to not test the game, and we need to release the cyberpunk earlier than actually expected, or this basically the norm for AAA gaming, make an unfinished product. Or we need to push monetization on a single player game. Yes, Ubisoft? Yes, Ubisoft? Huh? Looking at you, buddy. Because you did that. You did that to yourself. It's like you started doing that like 10 years ago. And when was Unity come out? In 2014, 2015? Around that, right? So it was for 10 years already. And making all of the egregious monetization practices, especially in the free games, but it's like adding loot boxes and stuff, Battlefront 2, right, EA? All of those are like pretty old stories, but I just remember them very well because I played all those games. I haven't played a lot of modern, multiplayer games, to be honest, and I haven't played Assassin's Creed anymore, so can't really bring other examples. And because of how it's run, and because it's a publicly traded company, and they should do what investors want them to do, this is where the problem comes in, because short-term games more important, and the company they choose people who are effective managers, basically, right? This happens all the time if you think about every industry, especially like creative industries, because I think game dev is creative industry. It's like movies, it's like art, I don't know, manga or some shit. Anime, right? It's creative because it's not like it's just just a rocket which you need to just build. It should just work, or like like a screen, right? You just need to have. Doesn't really matter the design, right? Doesn't really matter the artistic experience. It just should have like certain resolution, certain hertz, and that's it. That's all I need to have with a screen. But games are like like an artistic shit, okay? This is more about experience, about what people would see, about the feeling, about how good it plays, how good it looks, and all this. So it happened with games, it happened with movies, with the rise of Hollywood and how movies became big, with the TV shows, basically, right? It happened with anime nowadays, I think it happened as well. Is that with YouTube? Great example is YouTube. Where the money come in, this is where shit starts to become more of a product than an experience. And that's really the problem. It's like a general giant problem that we have in the world, which is kind of a sub-product of again, of our civilization we live in. Right, it's a sub-product of the capitalism if you think about it, because there are some people who care about artistic stuff, there are some people who care only about money, and there are some people who only cared about money and gonna do whatever it takes to get it, to scam people, to screw people over. Maybe it's just, the, I don't know, human maybe just designed that way, maybe. So there's some bad actors, there's some good actors, and like, maybe it's unfixable, really. Maybe it's just, again, maybe it's just capitalism. Even though it kind of doesn't really feel like it's like the full answer. But it is quite a part of the problem. And yeah, this is why, for example, for indie games, it's not that much of a problem. Yeah, there's some people who want to make money, much money as possible, and they're gonna make some fucking ice flip garbage. But mostly people do indie games because they want to make a game. Did you see, like, they play some Minecraft, or they play some, I don't know, Valheim, they play some CS, and they're like, damn, I want to make this game like that. I want to make my own game, and I'm gonna do that, right? I'm gonna do my own shit based on what I've seen, what I've learned. I'm gonna make a dream game, and this is why, like, indie games are much more of a solution nowadays, because it's much more creative and artistic, and there's a lot of garbage as well, but this is why AA studios are usually better, because they are like privately owned, because they don't really need that insane amount of money to reach everyone, and that's like another problem. Because they want to have this much money as possible, the big companies are like, we're gonna make the game for everyone. And how can you gonna make the game for everyone? How the fuck is that possible, bro? Just imagine this. How are we gonna be able to make the game that small ones are gonna be interested in, big ones are gonna be interested in, I don't know, man gonna be interested, women gonna be interested in, I don't know. It's like people from every country, from like US, from China, from Russia, from, I don't know, United Kingdom, from Pakistan, bro. I don't know. It's like, how are you gonna make the game interesting for everyone? But they try to do that, and the more you try to do, like, the pack it all together, the more bland it becomes, and that's part of the problem as well. Because you need someone with a vision, with artistic, good vision, who knows how to make a good shit. And this is what they really were replacing those people with, either diversity quotas or with effective managers. And how can I make the games good with those people? Because talented, creative people, they would leave if they see that kind of shit happening in the company. Like, damn, I better make my own company. And for example, that you can see that with the game called Final. There's a lot of Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft, Blizzard. You know the drill, right? All those people making their own games, making their own companies, because they realize that, damn, look, we're doing something wrong here. Okay, so I ranted long enough. Alright, I was like jumping, but that's basically the problem, really. It's like, and while it's not exactly capitalism, but it's kind of driven by it, you know. Maybe capitalism not ruining gaming, maybe people are just wrong people in the wrong places. Wrong people in the right places, more like, you know, the main people, the investors, really, or the, what else? You know, the upper management. At the end of the day, they are the ones responsible for everything in the company. Even if they don't really do games, but they're responsible for how they're gonna turn up, because that's what management do. That's what management does. That's what good main people do. They have the responsibility for everything. That's why they get so much money in the first place. But there's also some people who like to, you know, blame the others and like shift the responsibility. There's gonna be like people like that all the time. It's never gonna change. I think it's never gonna actually become different. There's also gonna be people like that. We just need to ensure that there's less people of that in the places of power. I'm not sure how we can do that. There's probably no way for us to do that, but it would be a dream, you know, the ideal future. And yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to say. And yeah, it's not unique to gaming. It's like it's everywhere. Again, I said it again, especially creative industries. Yeah, it's good. It's also could be seen, I don't know, like everywhere, and like the, let's say, graphic cards or like monitors and everywhere, and it's like phones, but especially bad with games, unfortunately, because again, it's a creative endeavor. If as much as you're gonna see it as a business, it's never gonna be fully business, because, you know, the game is an experience. It's not a product. Well, more like both, but it's not just the product. But yeah, that's, I ranted long enough. It's like 15 minutes already. I think it's enough for you. It's enough for me. So thank you for listening for it, and hopefully we'll see each other again, right? Alright, that's gonna be it for me. Bye.